Welcome back to the Secret Garden Homestead. Today I'm editing a video that Ryan did a few weeks back. I hope that you enjoy him showing you around our completed garage and organization tactics.
Welcome to our garage. We just moved to this new house, and at our old house we had a lot of stuff in an unfinished basement and in a garage. And so we needed a really efficient storage solution to consolidate all that stuff into the garage you see behind me. So I came up with this modular shelving design. I'm really proud of it. Everything is in either 8x2 sections or 8x4 sections, and they're 8 foot tall. So I started by building all the shelves, so I started by building all the shelves, and then I assembled them to fit our stuff. And so our stuff is, you see, mostly in totes, and the totes are 14 to 16 inches tall. So the shelves worked out to mostly about 14 to 16 inches tall to leave as little headroom as possible and be as efficient as possible. When the whole project was said and done, it worked out to about 150 linear feet of shelving or of space, and they're 2 feet deep. So it's about 300 square foot of storage. And we tried to really use every piece of that 300 square feet that we could. And ultimately we fit everything in the garage pretty nicely. The whole project came in at a little less than 500 bucks. It's about 10 sheets of plywood, about 80 to 90 2x4s, and we were able to get a lot of that lumber off of Craigslist, which cut the price of the project down. And then the hardware I used was 4-inch carriage bolts and about 3-inch lag screws for a lot of extra strength, given the weight that these shelves are carrying. So the whole project took a couple of weekends. But ultimately it was pretty easy and simple, and I'd recommend it for someone looking for a really efficient storage solution. But I wanted to go into a little bit about some of the stuff that we're actually storing. It looks like a lot of stuff, and all the stuff kind of has a story behind it, and there's a reason we've held on to this stuff. All of these totes right here were actually the dinnerware and the glassware from Christina and I's wedding. For all you do-it-yourselfers out there, you probably know that when you go to look at the cost of rentals, it turns out to be about the same price to just buy it new. We got all of our dinnerware at Kohl's, and really I think kind of the goal that people go after is that you can then resell it for the same price that you bought it for, and so you can cut down the cost of your wedding. The catch here is the storage side of things. So we ended up coming back from our honeymoon and still had all of our dirty dishes that we had to go through and clean and ultimately store. And so you start to realize why the cost of rentals are priced the way they're priced. Maybe wouldn't have done it again necessarily, but now we have this stuff which we didn't follow through on the reselling, but it's been a really nice thing to have. It's what we use for our baby showers. We've let family use it, friends use it, and ultimately this is a great resource for our community if anyone's having a formal event or maybe even a wedding in the future. So I think we're really ultimately glad that we hold on to it. Camping stuff above this, I think that's pretty straightforward. One tip with camping that I found super helpful is to put all of the stuff that you never remember, right? Paper towels, cups, plates, pots and pans. We just put a second set of all of these in these totes. And so instead of going through our kitchen and collecting stuff every time we go camping, we can just grab the totes, and if you're car camping, just work it out at the campsite. And so it cuts down on the time it takes to pack. On the top shelf, we've got all of the holiday stuff. Put that on the top because you're really only using that once a year. But another great investment I would encourage everyone to think about is a bounce house. The bounce house that we've got, we got it off Craigslist. It ended up costing us about 800 bucks, but we've probably paid for itself in the first month that we've owned it. At this point, we've either used it ourselves or shared it with friends double-digit times. So anytime you have a birthday, a kid's birthday, it's great to just pull out the bounce house. It's super fun. Everyone enjoys it. And really, you can see it doesn't take up a lot of space. So great option for people with kids to consider. All right, you probably are wondering what all these jars are. It looks like a lot of stuff, but it's about 6 to 9 months of dry food for a family of 6. And really it's a good way to manage bulk food. If you buy bulk food, it's pretty heavy, it's onerous. what we do is Christina will come out here. If we need rice, we just get these mason jars. She can bring these in the house, and that'll last you about a week. So it's just easy to move around. It's not too heavy. And then with dry canning, this stuff will last about 10 to 15 years if you dry can it appropriately. So we don't obviously keep that much on hand, but we just cycle through it. So once you start to get 8 to 10, empty mason jars, you can just go back to Costco and get some more bulk rice. So it's really it's a cost-effective way to do food, and it's also just peace of mind to have some food on hand. Same goes for the meat. So in the deep chest freezer, we try to keep about 6 to 9 months of meat. We do process our own cows. So Christina's family has a cattle ranch, and so we will do at least half a cow every year. And that's a fun process to raise up the cow and then choose the cuts that you want and try different cuts. So I think we'll probably do a video on that in the future. But we also will sometimes get a lamb or some other type of animal to supplement the cow. And between half a cow and a lamb for a family of 6, that will get us through probably closer to 9 months of meat. For all you parents out there, we've got a lot of kids' clothes. Kids go through clothes so fast. And so those are the hand-me-downs that just are not in use right now. And we kind of have a rotation system going on. And as the kids get older, I'm sure that will become a bigger footprint within the garage. This one parents may not recognize as much. This one's a little more nuanced. This is a 12-inch research grade telescope that we got at Cal Berkeley. I'm not using it honestly as much as I was hoping that I would, but as the kids get older, I think it's a fun supplement for homeschool, especially when there's an interesting astrological event, whether there's an asteroid or something to get a closer look at, and just to kind of keep your eye on the sky clock. So this is something I plan on using a lot more. When you've got the space, you can store, we have a dear friend who moved to London, and so I offered to store some of his stuff at the time. I think it was going to be temporary. At this point, I don't know if it's as temporary, but if he ever comes back to the States, we will give him all of his stuff back. Lastly, the main thing in a garage is, especially for guys out there, is tools. And so I'm really glad to have all my tools in one spot. At the other house, I had my tools split between the basement and the garage, and so I designed this tool bench. It's about 12 feet to really be about the workspace that I feel like I would need. But if I ever am working on a bigger project, I have this modular tool bench, which is another 6 feet that I can ultimately roll out and do bigger projects on, or come out and this is where I can also store a lot of tools. So super happy, really meets all my needs, and I think what any guy would really want in a garage. So hopefully this is helpful in terms of looking for a efficient storage solution in your garage.